Wow, good evening, and a happy Monday to everybody. My name is Jeremy Dysock, and I am a FICO certified credit coach with Credit Life Financial Wellness. I'm also the founder of the free credit repair advice group on Facebook, and I am on live every Monday night at typically 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 Pacific time. But tonight is going to be a little different. Tonight I am on at 6 Eastern, 5 Central, 4 Mountain, and 3 Pacific time. Why, you may ask, if you do ask? Well, we are going to be doing a working remote thing now for the coaches because, quite frankly, we look back at COVID and realized how much we enjoyed it. So, aside from studio work, I'm going to be doing in the Credit Life corporate offices in Burnsville, Minnesota, I'm also going to be doing my regular lives on Monday nights from my home office in Savage, Minnesota. So that's going to be kind of wild. So while we let the room fill up, I do want to remind everybody who's watching to go to the free credit repair advice group, join it, and make sure you're following these things so that you get reminded when we go live. If you're watching on YouTube, or if you've not yet found us on YouTube, you can find us on Credit TV, CREDI TV. That's our channel on YouTube where all of our best credit videos are hosted, and you can find all kinds of wonderful educational information there as well. So, anyone who's new to one of my Monday night lives, I want to absolutely welcome you. And if you're watching this on a rerun, thanks for watching. I want to welcome you. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, follow, join that free credit repair advice group on Facebook. You can't miss it. It's got 73.1 thousand members, people just like you who are looking to get advice from people like me, FICO certified professional credit coaches. Now, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about this evening. I want to talk about just some general credit information, credit repair info. I want to talk a little bit about buying versus leasing. I wrote an article this week in the free credit repair advice group, is where you can find it in the files section at the top, on buying versus leasing when it comes to automobiles. And then, as always, I am here to answer any questions you've got. So go ahead and put your questions in the comment section of the group, or if you are on YouTube watching us live, go ahead and put your questions in the comments section there, and they should pop up in my little nifty chat box on my restream audio thing here, and we'll cover those. But couple things, we've had a lot of questions in the free credit repair advice group lately, and there's a couple things I want to talk to you about. We've had a few questions on good ways to start your credit, good ways to start your credit when you have no credit at all. And that's a great question. A lot of people that are starting out, they're young, or maybe they've been in a relationship where the spouse or the other person had the credit, and everything was being done in that person's name. So the question becomes, well, what do I do? Jeremy, what do I do to start a credit profile from scratch? What do I do? Maybe you haven't had credit in a long time. Maybe this is after a bankruptcy. Maybe you are young, you don't have bad credit, you just don't have any. Or maybe you're new to the country, or you have been using your spouse's credit and you're saying, hey, it's time for me to develop my credit. What does a good credit profile look like? And I'm going to tell you. So, from a lending standpoint, from the standpoint of a mortgage lender, a consumer lender, someone who does auto loans, home loans, things like that, typically underwriting, the people who decide if you're getting financing or not, typically underwriting is going to be looking for what's known as a minimum trade line or a minimum account requirement. Now, I'm going to go with everybody's biggest goal, which is a mortgage. 95% of the people I work with professionally at Credit Life, their goal is home ownership. So I'm going to go with what underwriting requires when it comes to buying a home. Now, they're going to have, as I said, a minimum trade line or a minimum account requirement, but what types of accounts should you have, and what is the minimum? What an underwriter for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, and USDA mortgage underwriting. So these are all the big loan programs that you'll typically be working with. The types of accounts they're going to be looking for and the numbers of accounts they're going to be looking for are Two revolving accounts. Those are credit cards, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover Card. Two revolving accounts. They want them to be open, active, with a perfect payment history, okay? They'll want to see one installment account. Okay, so unlike a credit card, which you can charge up, you can pay off, you can use it again as long as you're happy with the bank and they're happy with you, it can revolve forever. Unlike a revolving account, an installment account, things like student loans, car loans, even mortgage loans, loans where you make equal monthly payments until it's paid off. And once it's paid off, it's done. Installment loans aren't able to be reused. If you want to go buy another vehicle, you need to take out another installment loan, that sort of thing. But Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, and USDA underwriters are going to be looking for a minimum trade line profile or a minimum account profile of two revolving accounts, open and active with a perfect payment history, one installment account, open and active with a perfect payment history, and at least a 24-month credit depth. Okay, that's time. That's how long you've had credit. That's the one thing we can't affect. So, one of the ways when I'm working with people on developing a new credit profile, one of the ways that I help them compensate for that lack of credit depth, that lack of a 24-month credit history, is by having them open another kind of account, and that's a retail account. Finger Hut, Kohl's Department Store, Target, Best Buy, Walmart, those are all retail accounts. So for someone brand new, you're going to want to look at two revolving accounts, open and active with a perfect payment history, one installment account, open and active with a perfect payment history, and one retail account. So if you don't have credit, if you're in the rebuild portion, that is what you're going to want to have. Now, credit cards, they're easy to figure out. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. There's a couple different kinds of cards you can get. There is secured, and there is unsecured. Secured is where you walk into a bank or walk into the credit card company and say, "Hi, I'd like to get a $300 limit secured Visa." And the Visa company goes, "Great, give me $300." And you give them $300 and they put that into an account that you do not get to touch. And they hand you a credit card with a $300 spending limit, a $300 credit limit. And it's a regular credit card. Even though you gave them $300, that's a regular credit card. You can charge it up, you pay it down, you pay it off, you can use it again as long as you're happy with the bank. Bank's happy with you, it can keep revolving forever. But if you charge that card up and don't pay them off, they got their $300 back from that little account that it was put into. That's a secured card. It's kind of pay to play. The other kind of revolving account credit card is an unsecured card. That's where you apply for a credit card and they send it to you with a spending limit, but you don't have to put any sort of deposit down. And that's a regular credit card. Charge it up, pay it down, pay it off, use it again. As long as you're happy with the bank and the bank is happy with you, that can keep revolving forever. It does not matter if you've got secured cards or unsecured cards. None look any better to underwriting. None affect your score any differently. A secured card will impact your score the exact same way an unsecured card will. So if you've ever heard, though you don't want a secured card, they're frowned at, nonsense. B as in B, S as in S. As long as you've got the cards and you open them, it doesn't matter if it's secured or unsecured. So again, what's a good profile look like? We said two revolving accounts, open and active with a good pay history, one installment account, open and active with a good pay history, at least a 24-month depth. And because oftentimes people don't have that, I recommend a retail card. Now, installment accounts are student loans, car loans, mortgages, things like that. If you're going, though, "Jeremy, I don't have an installment account, I can't get one," I'm going to recommend one to you right here at the bottom of, wrong button, at the bottom of, at the bottom of the screen here. I've got an account I like a lot, and it's called Self-Lender. Self-Lender is an account that I recommend on a day-to-day basis professionally to my clients, okay, to use Self-Lender. And you can get one by going tinyurl.com, get self. That I did it like that because I know exactly it's the right one, okay? All right, so Self-Lender is an account that I recommend professionally to my clients. Now, many people ask about a Self-Lender account. Like, what is it? How does it work? will it help me? Now, a self-lender is a savings-driven installment account that will report to all three credit bureaus as an installment account. Now, this rounds out your credit profile and builds your credit score while you tuck money away for a rainy day. This is a win-win, okay? Now, with no hard inquiry, so if you've got bad credit, this is something you can use to help get you out of it. With no hard inquiry and a complete variety of monthly payment sizes available, a self-lender is a fantastic option and an opportunity for those who are looking to improve their credit. Now, again, below, there's a link to open the self-lender account for yourself and do your credit growth. But this is the original self-lender. So again, this is an installment savings account that reports as installment payments to all three bureaus. The account also has the ability to issue you a secured credit card without a credit inquiry after 3 installment payments to allow you to build revolving credit. So remember, we said a good profile is 2 revolving accounts, open and active, perfect payment, 1 installment account, open and active, perfect payment, 2 years of credit history, and 1 retail card. Now, if you're having trouble getting credit cards, you open yourself, you make your installment payments, and then 3 months in, it allows you to open a credit card, a secured card. So you've killed 2 birds with 1 stone. That's why I recommend, professionally, I recommend that one. Now, let's get back to, so we've talked about the installment. We talked about the revolving installment. 2 years history. Well, we can't impact time unless, if you guys know how to move through time, y'all let me know. But right now, I'm not too good at it. So we're going to move on from that to a retail account. Now, a retail account that almost everybody can get approved for is called Fingerhut. It's a catalog account. Basically, you get a Fingerhut card and you can buy things through their catalogs. Now, the first people who are going to probably pipe up are going to be the ones who go, they're overpriced. They raise their prices. They jack their prices up. And that's true on a lot of their things. They're expensive, but on their clearance items, they are not. And on price protected things like name brand shoes, they're not. Why? Because they're price protected. If you ever went to the Nike store and saw a pair of Nikes, then you go to Kohl's and you go to Macy's and you go to Foot Locker, those Nikes are the same price everywhere. Same with like polo clothing and things like that, because they're price protected. So if you're worried about being overcharged for something, you think you're going to pay too much at Fingerhut for your retail account, go ahead and buy a name brand shoe as your purchase. Boom, you're safe, your price protected. All right, so that profile for rebuilding, or that profile for when you don't have credit, this is a question that's come up a lot this week. 2 revolving accounts, open and active with a good payment history, 1 installment account, open and active with a good payment history, 24 months credit depth, and a retail card. All right. So what I want to do, by the way, if you guys would like to have your very own professional credit coach, I have started taking on clients again. I have started doing admissions again for clients. So I've got room right now for about 47 people to bring them on, and then coach. We'll coach you through the Credit Life program here, all of us, and get you in position to buy a home, to have the your dream goals. And so if you're looking to buy a home, even sell a home, if you're looking to start a business or grow a business, we help with business credit as well. No matter what your goals are, if you're looking for better credit, just go to www.bookcoachjeremy, that's me, Jeremy.com, and you can pick a day, an evening, or even a weekend for a no-cost consultation. Now, during that consult, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what's on your credit, talk about your goals, and put together a plan and steps and action items to get your score and profile in position for all the goals you've got. www.bookcoachjeremy.com. You can talk to me live, and we will get you on board the Credit Life program. All right. I am going to set up the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is buying cars versus leasing cars, which is better. And I'm going to be back to talk to you about that in just a minute.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
All All right, welcome back. Welcome back again. It is Monday evening. I am FICO certified credit coach Jeremy Dysock, broadcasting live into the free credit repair advice group on Facebook. If you're seeing this anywhere else and you're not yet a member of the free credit repair advice, run, don't walk, and join it. We've got 73,100 members. We're missing a few more, and I think you guys are the ones we're missing. So come on over and join. We'll get you on board. So I wanted to talk about buying or leasing a car, buying a car or leasing a car. Had a lot of questions, some stuff emailed to me, some questions emailed, messaged to me, some other ones in the free credit repair advice group. A lot of people are looking at cars right now. They're looking at, there are a lot of auto shows going on, things like that. And people are, asking me, Jeremy, from a credit standpoint, what makes more sense, to buy a car or to lease a car? And what's the difference? So if you're in the market for a car, you've got the option to buy or lease if you're not paying cash outright for the car. If you don't walk in with a stack of $100 bills, basically your financing options are to buy the car or lease the car. Now, a lot of people are opposed to leasing. I'm not going to pay and rent a vehicle and will only buy cars. And there's other people who go, I'd never pay for a depreciable and buy a car. I'm only going to lease. So the question becomes, how do you know which one is right for you? So I want to give you everything you must know about the difference between buying and leasing a car. So the basics of buying a car, understanding how buying or leasing a car works. This can help you decide which way to go if you're in the market for a vehicle. Let's start with buying a car. So when you buy a car, you invest in the asset. The car is an asset, okay? You are the owner of the car, although the bank holds on to the title until you pay off the loan in full. So does the bank own it? Technically, until you pay it off in full. But you're the owner of the car, and you make monthly payments towards the loan, paying both principal, which is the money you borrowed to pay for the car, and interest, which is the profit the bank makes by making a loan to you. So you're going to make monthly payments towards the loan, paying both principal and interest. Now, when you pay the loan off in full after a 48-month loan or a 60-month loan or a 72-month loan on this car, when you pay the loan off in full, you are the rightful owner of the car, and you can do whatever you want with it. Sell it, keep it, paint it a different color, enter a demolition derby with it, drive it until it doesn't drive anymore, whatever. That's your car now. You own that sucker outright, okay? So when you're done paying the loan, you own the car. Now, leasing a car. When you lease a car, you don't own it. You essentially rent it from the leasing company, and you must abide by their rules, which include how many miles you can drive it per year, what condition you have to keep it in, and when you've got to give it back to them. You have to abide by those rules, okay? Now, at the end of the lease, could be a 3-year lease, 36-month, 48-month. I've even seen 60-month leases. At the end of the lease, you don't own the car. You turn it back into the leasing company unless you decide to buy it from them. Some leases will give you a set amount. You're like, man, I love this car. It's been perfect. I want to buy it when it's done. And they'll let you buy it for a predetermined amount. But otherwise, you don't own that car. That car is done. You're done with the lease. You're done with the rental. You're done with the car. Your payments are based on them estimating what the depreciation on the car will be throughout the time that you've had it. So you buy the car for 50 grand or 40 grand or 30 grand. Well, by the time you turn it back in, maybe it's worth 12 grand, and they're going to figure out your lease payments based on what that sucker depreciates plus some profit for them, okay? So buying a car versus leasing a car when it comes to payments. One of the main areas of focus when deciding if you buy or lease a car should really be the monthly payments. I mean, that's the big determining factor is which one is more economical for me. Typically, a car loan is going to have higher payments than a lease because you're actually paying back the full sales price of the car with interest, right? Whereas with a lease, you're only going to pay the depreciated value of the car during the term. It's still going to have some value left, and they get to keep that at the end. Now, car payments. Car payments, when you own a car, they're made up of principal and interest. You're borrowing the difference between your down payment and the sales price. And the lender charges you interest on the amount that you borrow, okay? Your interest charges, the amount that you're paying in interest, they're highest at the start. And then every month that you're paying it down, the amount you're paying in interest is going down. But the amount you're paying in principal, the actual money you borrowed, goes up. So your interest charges are the highest at the start of the loan when your principal balance is high, and the interest charges decrease as you pay the balance down. Now, typically for a car loan, you can choose anywhere from a term of 2 to 7 years. Now, the less time you borrow the money for, the higher your payment, but the sooner you pay that thing off. And loans with longer terms, like your 48-month loan and your 60-month loan, they have higher interest too. So you want to calculate that out when they're giving you options. You're like, well, this payment's 25 bucks more. Yeah, 25 bucks more for 12 months. Okay, for a full year versus this other one. Well, if the savings is better on the shorter one and you can afford it, that might be the way to go. That's on car loan payments. Now, lease payments. Most leases, they don't require a down payment, or if they do, it's small. It's not 20% down on this car, it's small. Your payment's based on the amount that they expect the car to depreciate during the lease term, okay? The longer your lease is, the higher that payment will be because it'll depreciate more. At the end of the lease, you can turn in the car and owe nothing. If it's in good condition, if you didn't break it, and if you didn't go over in the mileage, all right? Or you can buy out the lease by paying the car's residual value, which is the current market rate, with the depreciation already paid out of it. All right. So some lease companies add other fees at buyout. They'll a service fee, a buyout fee, all kinds of stuff. So it's really important to ask a lease company what the final price is before you decide on this thing. Now, the benefits. There are benefits to each of these, to leasing and buying, right? The benefits of leasing a car. So at first glance, when you first look at it, leasing seems much better. You get a lower payment, you can turn the car in, get another one whenever you want, but there are downsides. Okay. Here's the benefits of leasing. You drive a new car. New cars have less trouble typically than older cars. That means less money out of your pocket for repairs. Most leased cars are under warranty, and the only maintenance you got to pay for are things like oil change or maintaining the tires. You can always drive the latest model. If you take 2-3 year leases, you can essentially always drive the latest model car. If you bought a car, you probably wouldn't have the flexibility to buy a new car every couple of years, considering the biggest hit, the depreciation, is right in the beginning with a new car. You might be able to afford a more luxurious whip, a more luxurious car. It's not the reason to spend more than you should, but with lease payments lower than car payments, you might be able to drive a nicer car than you could have if you had financed the thing and bought it. And then at the end, you don't have to sell the car, okay, with a lease. You don't have to sell it. Selling or trading a car can be a hassle. And yeah, you got things like Carvana saying they'll pick it up. Don't let that fool you. It's still a pain in the butt. Most car owners don't get what they want for the car, or they find out it's much less than they anticipated. Even if the car is worth as much as you wanted, there's no guarantee you'll sell it right away. If you trade it into a dealer, chances are you're going to get less, since dealers are known for lowballing trade-ins. Those are the upsides of leasing. Now, the downsides of leasing a car. The lower payments and the ability to have a new car every couple of years can feel amazing, but there are some downsides. Okay, there are downsides to leasing. You have no equity in the car. You're going to pay the highest level of depreciation on the car, since it has the most depreciation during the first couple of years when you're leasing it, right? You then turn in the car and you got nothing to show for it. Now, if you bought the car, you'd at least have the car's value minus any loans to use to buy your next car, okay? Now, your mileage is limited on a lease. You can only drive a certain number of miles each year. If you go over, you're going to pay an excessive mileage fee. That can be as much as 50 cents per mile if you go over, and that can happen and add up on you fast. You might owe excessive wear and tear charges. You got to return a leased vehicle in insane condition. Or the lease company can charge you for the damages. It's kind of like renting a car and returning it in condition other than you received it. Lease companies expect the car back in great condition. All right, that's leasing, the benefits and the cons. Now, the benefits of buying a car versus leasing. Buying a car's got benefits, even though it's going to cost you more upfront and potentially more monthly. Here's what you got to consider. Number one benefit of buying a car: you own the car. Once you pay off your loan, you are the proud owner of your car. You don't need anyone's approval to make changes. You want to put in one of those horns that sounds like an oncoming freight train? Do it. You don't need anyone's approval to make changes. Even when you've got the loan, you can paint the car a different color. You can tint the windows, whatever you want to do. And you can decide what to do with the car once you no longer owe the bank the money. You can drive as much as you want. There's no mileage restrictions like there are with a lease. You don't have to worry about any mileage restrictions when you own the car. You can drive it as little or as much as you want. Excessive wear and tear might impact the car's value, but you don't have to pay anyone any penalties for it. It's your car. You can sell or trade the car when you own it whenever you want. You don't have to wait till the lease is done. You don't have to wait till a loan is done. When you lease a car, you got to stick with the lease agreement. And if you want to trade it in early, you'll get a prepayment penalty. If you own a car, you can do what you want. It means keeping it for 20 years, knock yourself out. If it means selling it in a year or two, knock yourself out. Okay. So there's some perks there to buying versus leasing. Now, the downsides of buying a car. Like leasing, buying a car has downsides to consider. Number one, the monthly payments will be higher. The monthly payments are higher. When you buy a car, the payments are higher because you're financing the full sales price, not just the depreciated lower price like you would when you lease a car. You need more money down. Typically on a purchase, you need a down payment. Doesn't have to be big. 5 to 10% down is usual. But if you don't have a down payment, you can use a trade-in if you own another car and want to sell it and use the money to buy a car. But the downside is you got to have a bigger down payment than you typically do on leasing. Now, when you own, maintenance costs might be higher. People who own their cars typically keep them for longer than the 2 years, 3 years a lease would have. So you're eventually going to be outside of warranty. You're eventually going to need repairs. So this means you could put more money into the car than you would when you leased it. That's a very real possibility. So owning a car, leasing a car, what's the key takeaway? What's the big takeaway, the key takeaway from any of this? Make sure you always compare the total cost of ownership of both leasing and buying a car. Buying, repairs, things like that down the road, leasing, not having equity in it, okay? You got to take a look at the bottom line, figure out which thing would benefit you more financially. If you want to read more about this, I wrote an article, Buying or Leasing a Car, What's the Difference? It is in the files section of the free credit repair advice group there for you to look at. And while I've got you, again, if you'd like to book a consultation with me, I am admitting clients. I'm taking on clients for Credit Life. I've got room to take on 47 right now. So if you'd like to have a consultation with me, FICO certified credit coach Jeremy Dysak, the founder of the free credit repair advice group and credit veteran for 28 years now, just go to www.bookcoachjeremy.com and you can pick a day, an evening, or even a Saturday morning for a consultation. Now, there's no cost for the consult because it's to find out if you're a fit for the Credit Life program. During your consult, we'll talk about your goals. We'll talk about what's on your credit. We'll put together a plan, steps, and action items to get your score and profile in position for all your goals, be it getting a car, be it purchasing a home so you have a backyard for your kids to play in, whatever. Just go to www.bookcoachjeremy.com, and I'm going to be here for your questions and answers. I'm anxious to see some. Drop them in chat, and I'll take a look at those right after this.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
All right, this is Jeremy Dysak, FICO certified credit coach with Credit Life Financial Wellness and the founder of the free credit repair advice group. Back with you for just a couple of more minutes here. Just wanted to take a look. So it doesn't look like we've got any questions, and that's absolutely and totally fine. So what I want to do is I want to remind you all I'm on live every Monday, typically at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 Pacific time. Of course, today I'm on a little earlier. So I'm going to post this live back up again at that time for playback. But I want you to join me, ask questions. We've got a number of our coaches who do this throughout the week. Also, if you're not a member of the free credit repair advice group on Facebook, 73,100 members, hop on in. Join that. Lots of wonderful free credit advice, things that you can put into play, things that you can put into motion today to get your score and profile in better shape. And again, if you'd like to book a consultation with me, oh, here we go. My car just turned 20. Is it still worth trading in? I'll tell you what, right now with the shortage of used cars, it actually might be. With a 20-year-old car, you're actually getting into it's not antique, it's classic. So you might be able to get someone who's interested in that for that reason. But yeah, with the shortage of used vehicles, they're paying top dollar for everything right now. All right, so I'm going to invite everybody to join me, as I said, every Monday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 Pacific for the Facebook Live Credit Advice. My name is Jeremy Dysock, FICO Certified Credit Coach. I want to thank you all for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, on Credit TV, CREDI TV, EDI TV, pardon me, go ahead and hit the follow button. Give me some likes. And other than that, feel free to drop your questions in, and I'll answer them as soon as I see them. Thanks a lot. You all have an amazing night. Bye-bye.